Hey there, fellow wanderers. Tonight we embark on a journey far back in time, to the vast and forgotten land of Sumer. Picture it now. Night has settled over the plains of ancient Mesopotamia. The air is warm and heavy, tinged with the earthy smell of clay bricks, baked under the relentless sun. Darkness envelops you, but a gentle whisper of wind caresses your skin. Carrying tales as old as time itself, this is not a fairy tale, but a dive into history's blurred lines between myth and reality. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. Now you trudge along the dusty streets of Uruk, watching merchants hawk their wares, lapis lazuli and gold, fresh grain and handmade pottery. Without the chorus of modern-day distractions, your senses are keenly attuned to every rustle and scent. Laughter mingles with foreign tongues, as travellers from distant lands exchange tales and goods under the pale glow of the moon. Here lies the land of the Sumerians, where the concept of kingship was birthed alongside the dawn of civilization. In this ancient epic, kings were not mere rulers. They were the divine shepherds of their people, chosen to protect and to lead. Emerging over 5,000 years ago, the Sumerian kings were woven into a tapestry of myth and reality, a curious blend that makes the truth all the more elusive. Their names echo through time, whispered from generation to generation, carrying secrets and power. Imagine yourself stepping into the court of one of the early kings, surrounded by the grand ziggurats that pierce the clouds, each tier a testament to human ambition and divine tribute. The early Sumerian rulers found their authority not just in political power, but through a sacred connection with the gods themselves. Here, the divine and mundane blurred together like the watercolour strokes of the Euphrates River at dusk. The rise of these kings, shrouded in mystery as much as it is in clay tablets, began with the legendary figures etched into the King List, a document that details a lineage of kings reigning before and after a great flood, a story that has sparked imaginations across the ages. You might think of it as the precursor to modern genealogy, albeit with a mythic twist. It's a list where time stretches and condenses, where some kings ruled unrealistically long reigns, perhaps attributed to another divine intervention or simply the allure of legend overpowering mundane human lifespan. One mainstream historical fact is that the Sumerians are often credited with creating one of the world's earliest forms of writing, cuneiform, a wedge-shaped script etched into clay tablets. These writings offer a fragmented glimpse into the lives and minds of the Sumerians, yet they leave much to the imagination. Historians still argue whether some of these writings mix folklore with actual events, challenging any who seek definitive truths in this labyrinth of words and symbols. Our first king to explore, Enmerkar of Uruk, is a prime example of this blending of myth and reality. Legend says he was chosen by the gods to create the first great city of Uruk, exerting power over the land like a farmer tilling fertile fields. Picture him addressing his court, a vision of charisma draped in archaic grandeur, claiming conversations with the divine and asserting his place as the bridge between the heavens and his people. The quirky or fringe tidbit you might find amusing is that according to the stories, Enmerkar might have just been an ancient master of persuasive writing, using his wit and charisma to outmaneuver his enemies like a chess player always 3 moves ahead. Very likely the Shakespeare of his era, sans the ruffled collar. As you stand among the shadows of these ancient rulers, an interesting pattern emerges. A lineage of kings ebbing and flowing with time and tide, their stories echoing the greatness and vulnerability of their civilization. Like a melody passed down through ages, the resonance of these tales vibrates softly in the warm night air, promising mystery and intrigue, much like how the Sumerians may have felt while staring up at the endless starlit sky. And although the city around you falls into silence under the watchful eyes of its inhabitants' dreams, echoes of laughter and triumph still linger, casting the shadows of what once was. Whether viewed as divinely inspired leaders or ambitious architects of empire, each king was a thread in the rich tapestry of Sumerian history, woven together in a way that challenges every puzzle enthusiast craving the riddles of the past. Yet for now, as the clock strikes another hour and the winds of Mesopotamia gently nudge you forward, keep with you the thought that, beyond every shadow, every story, lies another layer of mystery yet to unfold. Let the lull of history coax you deeper into sleep, dreaming of forgotten kings and their ancient courts, where reality and myth danced gracefully in the sunlit dust of a long-lost era. As Enmerkar's legacy lingers in the soft ambience of ancient Uruk, your senses are called to another corner of this fabled kingdom. The warm cloud of dust now shifts, unveiling the enigma of King Enmerkar, a figure who stands at the intersection of myth and history, clothed in the mysteries of his own era. With every step you take on this barren, clay-rich soil, you inch closer to unraveling the secrets that conceal themselves in whispered legend. Enmerkar's tales speak of far more than just the construction of great cities or the customary duties of a king. These stories tell of a time when kings conversed with deities and translated divine will into earthly governance. Picture Enmerkar, a ruler who, through sheer charisma and claims of divine discourse, brought his kingdom closer to the heavens. His reign was said to have benefited from a certain exclusivity, the whispered knowledge that placed him among the most revered mortals. And like a master storyteller, his narrative shines brightly, albeit wrapped in the soft haze of legend. In a notable and peculiar instance, we find Enmerkar entangled in an epic struggle with Aratar, a rival city-state. The conflict wasn't just a question of political dominion, it had undertones of a divine rivalry staged on Earth. A famous tale, written in the cuneiform symbols that echo through time, tells how Enmerkar communicated with Inanna, the goddess of love and war, to win her favour. He requested her support to enforce Uruk's supremacy over Aratar, portraying the battle as a cosmic chess game where gods moved kings rather than pawns. The peculiar element of this tale is the innovative use of a recorded message, possibly one of the world's first cases of an official dispatch. Imagine Enmerkar's emissary, clay tablet in hand, journeying across harsh terrains, words baked into permanence by the sun. A postal service for the ages. A quirky or fringe tidbit, you may muse, imagining courier pigeons nodding approvingly from afar, their pride challenged by this ancient feat of communication. This story, while firmly grounded in the invention of writing, fuels the scholarly debate. Did these messages literally reach mythical kings of rival cities, or was it a metaphorical display of prowess and influence? Historians still argue whether such dispatches were genuine diplomatic exchanges or grand flourishes in a narrative designed to immortalize Uruk's dominion. Could it be that Enmerkar was both charismatic leader and canny diplomat, cleverly crafting a story that intersected political ambitions with divine drama? You can almost see the knowing twinkle in his eye, suggesting he enjoyed the theatrics of his own legend. A nod to future historians struggling to untangle the narrative knots he so skillfully crafted. As you tread through the earthen paths of Sumer's countryside, Enmerkar's legend resonates, much like a fanciful echo in the darkness. He remains an example of how ancient rulers might influence minds and hearts with the same finesse as wielding swords and armies. Reflecting on these tales as you continue your stroll through ancient history, you're reminded that the line between legend and history is not always clearly defined. The role of these tales extended beyond simple truth, serving larger societal functions, ensuring cohesion, inspiring allegiance, and bolstering the ruler's image. For who could resist tales of divine favour and cosmic mandates? Yet, beneath the grandiose myths, Enmerkar's connection with the divine serves as a glaring reminder of the bridges that connected human realms with divine spheres, in a relationship as complex as any modern geopolitical negotiation. It's the kind of tale that keeps the imagination percolating, whether under the starlit skies of Sumer or through the lens of contemporary discourse. These narratives, much like the gentle hum of the wind that sways the grasses under a twilight sky, invite historians to ponder and probe, casting curious questions over grains of factual knowledge. What was historical accuracy but a theory outlined by the surviving narratives? Compiled, interpreted and debated through the long stretch of time, playing a melody that cradles you gently along its varying tonal pitches. As the last hints of Enmerkar's story drift away with the winds of Mesopotamia, you're left with the lingering feelings of awe and curiosity, prompting thoughts of the kings to come. Each figure, shadowed in myth and wrapped in the complexities of forgotten eras, beckons you toward new layers of storytelling, where history and legend intertwine, whispering secrets in the tender pulse of a universe held in delicate balance. So, as the quiet echoes cradle your senses, you find yourself descending deeper into the twilight of history's wonders. Yet another step in the grand narrative that continues to weave its mesmerizing spell. Embrace the enchanting pull of the enigmas yet to come, a lullaby of long-lost rulers whose tales will only deepen the tapestry unfolding in your dreams. The nocturnal air of ancient Sumer soon brings you to the tale of another enigmatic figure, King Lugalbanda. As you wander beneath the celestial vaults, the stars twinkle like forgotten jewels against the velvet sky, casting a serene glow that wraps you in a tender embrace. Here in the quiet of dawn, the farmers prepare their fields, the scents of fresh earth mingling with the faint breeze, weaving a sensory tapestry that invites exploration into the realm of myth and reality. King Lugalbanda is a figure as much shrouded in intrigue as enveloped in the warm embrace of time's passage. His story offers a delicate blend of mythical odysseys and the tantalizing promise of eternal life, a formula beguiling enough to spark the curiosity of rulers and dreamers alike. Imagine Lugalbanda, a king who somehow walked the razor's edge between earthly responsibilities and divine adventure, a peculiar fact that draws one into the rhythmic ebb and flow of his narrative. In a tale reminiscent of heroes' journeys witnessed in age-old myths, Lugalbanda's adventurous exploits speak of a mystical journey through lands unknown, in a realm of gods and distant prospects. One mainstream historical fact is that the Sumerians penned Lugalbanda's adventures in the epic known as Lugalbanda in the Mountain Cave, embedding his legacy into the cuneiform tablets that have danced through the ages, poised to fascinate the curious minds of future scholars. During his journey to seek the divine intervention of Eannatum, Lugalbanda travels across rugged landscapes, each step a poignant reminder of life's enduring quest for meaning. Allegedly, in an altar-studded mountain cave, he rests and receives divine instruction, an encounter that bestows upon him supernatural abilities and sustenance. Imagine today's athletes vying for such sponsorships, armed not with high-tech supplements but with cosmic endorsement. What makes Lugalbanda's story especially enchanting is a quirky or fringe tidbit, his uncanny ability to defy earthly limitations. With the vigor of a Sumerian superhero, the tales describe how he experienced a miraculous recovery after falling gravely ill, rejuvenating like the phoenix from poetic ashes. To paraphrase in a nod to modern biotechnology, he might just have been the original beneficiary of some divine gene therapy. Historians still argue whether such an epic represents an allegorical celebration of Sumerian ideals and royal virtues, or if it's simply the result of a fantastical tale spun over wine-soaked evenings. Was Lugalbanda's epic spiritual ascent ever intended to be taken literally? Or was it merely the precursor to every legendary king seeking the sweet allure of immortality and heroism? As you ponder this, mentally traversing the zigzag trails of Lugalbanda's journey, there's a comforting sense that time has no boundaries in these stories. The past folds gently into the present, while we who stand firmly in the realm of reality possess the wondrous ability to paint our own stories, perhaps with much less divine intervention, yet similarly intertwined with dreams and aspirations. The figure of Lugalbanda softly reminds us of the enchanting possibilities when human and divine worlds temporarily collide, unraveling tight-knit webs of reality and fantasy. Like a dreamer caught between wakefulness and sleep, the line between authentic and imaginary blurs, spreading its dreamy touch into the very fabric that unravels stories worth telling. Against this backdrop of ancient landscapes, sun-dappled memories, and airy fables, you let the rhythm of the narrative gently guide your senses back to the peaceful embrace of the present, reminding you of the tender coherence within the chaos of history. Our common quest for understanding, purpose, and the playful flirtation with eternity's allure. You find yourself enfolded in the calm after the mythic storm, the pulse of possibility echoing in the quietude. As you stroll onward through the annals of Sumeria, you continue following the silken threads of legend and history, lulled to slumber by the charming ambiguity of ancient times. The resonance of Lugalbanda's journey leaves a subtle imprint on the tender mantle of night's embrace, an invitation to listen closer next time to the hushed tales and meaningful whispers echoing beneath the canopy of heavenly light. The intrigue of kings, past and present, awaits you on this eternal journey, a reminder of the elegance embedded within the dance of human myth and history. With the gentle whispers of Lugalbanda's legends fading into the breeze, your journey now winds through the enigmatic shadows of King Dumuzid. The night air, rich with the earthy scent of tilled fields and the faint saltiness of nearby marshlands, envelops you as shimmering stars cast gentle light onto the stories that swirl around you. It is within this mystical mixtape of sensory delights that the narrative of Dumuzid, sometimes referred to as the Shepherd King, unfolds, a tapestry of myth, tragedy, and rebirth. Dumuzid, a ruler immortalized in tales as ancient as the cities he's meant to have governed, was enshrined not only in the mundane realm of governance, but deeply within Sumerian mythology. Often associated with pastoral beauty and the bounties of harvest, his story takes a decidedly darker turn, a tale that underscores the eternal dance of life and death, the cycles mirrored in nature and human experience alike. His narrative, as recorded in Sumerian literature, is a fusion of earthly kingship and divine interplay. From the pastoral fields where lambs bleat contentedly to the celestial drama of nuptial bonds, Dumuzid is entwined with Eannatum, the goddess of love and war, a union ripe with promise and peril. Their narrative plays out against a backdrop of harvest festivals and celestial ceremonies, where the baritone of drums echoes across moonlit terraced fields. The mainstream historical fact of the day, Dumuzid as a real king, resides in the Sumerian king list, showcasing a reign that lasted several decades, thus providing a bridge between myth and potential historical truth. Yet it is the mythological journey of Dumuzid that captivates the imagination. His story takes an unexpected turn with his descent into the underworld, a narrative where myth emerges, raw and unrestrained. Cast down into the shadowy depths in place of his wife, we're thrust into a scene crafted with all the drama of prime-time TV. Picture it. As Dumuzid, you find yourself pursued by demons, eventually succumbing to the inevitable pull of fate. One might argue that these household disputes have scaled heights of legendary proportions, much like a particularly intense episode of a household reality show. A quirky or fringe tidbit awaits you. Every year, Dumuzid's return from the netherworld is celebrated through the echoes of centuries-old rituals, echoing echoes of antiquity that linger in certain cultural practices that highlight humanity's endless dance with mortality, like a caroling carousel of life's seasonal sway. This cyclical aspect invites scholarly debate. Historians still argue whether Dumuzid's saga symbolized the seasonal shifts of agriculture, a metaphor for life's ephemeral qualities, or whether they were cultural allegories woven from deeper philosophical musings. Was Dumuzid's myth a parable for replenishing life's essence, expressed through its yearly rhythms, forever oscillating between abundance and scarcity? Standing at this narrative crossroads, you let your curiosity guide your thoughts further, as the tale deepens in complexity. Dumuzid's cycle of life and death poignantly speaks to the intrinsic acceptance of the inexorable cycles that govern both nature and human life. As we cross the threshold of history, it becomes apparent that these myths served as a vehicle for existential reflection, capturing contemporary fears and aspirations within its multifaceted folds. As you continue to wander through this shadow-dappled landscape of antiquity, the questions birthed by these myths ripple outwardly like the languorous spread of morning mist across a drowsy marshland. In the telling and retelling of Dumuzid's tale, the echoes of continuity and change remind us of the immortal relationship shared by the human condition and the eternal mysteries of life's eternal dance. You come to understand that within the poetic tapestries of these ancient narratives lies a cross-generational dialogue, a conversation between past and present that spans the cosmos of time. The mythic enchantment of Dumuzid thus becomes an allegory not simply of an ancient king or a pastoral shepherd, but a reflection upon the archetypical essence that underpins all human narratives. As the night whispers lull you deeper into the recesses of tranquil contemplation, the narrative invites you to dream onward, carried through the timeless passageways of Sumerian lore. There's comfort in the gentle cadence of these stories, each a stepping stone over the river of dreams that bears you to the farthest, gentlest shores of sleep. And with a nod to the recurring gift of renewal taught by Dumuzid's myth, you settle softly into the knowledge that each story spun and shared is a seed of experience planted within the fertile earth of human history. The warm night breeze continues to weave through the threads of time, ushering you gently into the narrative of the legendary figure known as King Gilgamesh. Here, in the land of Sumer, where whispers of gods and mortals intertwine, Gilgamesh stands as a towering figure, physically, metaphorically, and perhaps most importantly, literally. In the quiet rustle of leaves and the serene chorus of crickets, the tale of Gilgamesh unfolds. Known primarily through the Epic of Gilgamesh, this ancient ruler's story holds a unique sway, blending the charisma of history with the grandeur of epic poetry. Imagine Gilgamesh striding confidently through the city of Uruk, his figure cutting an imposing silhouette against the starry night. His legend, etched on stone tablets, awaits patiently to sweep you into its eternal embrace. The mainstream historical fact is that the Epic of Gilgamesh is regarded as one of the earliest surviving works of literature, a masterpiece carved in cuneiform that transcends millennia, to engage the human spirit with its themes of heroism, friendship, and the quest for immortality. Gilgamesh himself is believed to have been a historical king of Uruk, with speculation dating his reign around 2800 to 2500 BCE, blending the lines between the historical and the mythical in an enduring tapestry. Yet it is the mythological layers that truly captivate. Gilgamesh's character is complex, part divine, part human, a king embroiled in adventures that span the celestial and the earthly. He is accompanied by Enkidu, his loyal companion fashioned from clay, an odd couple friendship if ever there was one. Together they embark on fabled quests, battling formidable creatures such as the Bull of Heaven sent by the aggrieved goddess Ishtar when Gilgamesh spurns her advances, much like a celebrity drama playing out on a divine stage. The tension between these heavenly and earthly domains creates ripples that last through eternity. What makes Gilgamesh's story resonate is its rich tapestry woven from epic quests and existential musings. Alongside the almost larger-than-life battles, he engages in profound philosophical dialogues, a quirky or fringe tidbit that might remind one of a road trip movie, where existential debates unfold over breathtaking vistas. Historians still argue whether these adventures and musings reflect the concerns of an emerging urban civilization confronting issues of identity, mortality, and environmental challenges. Could Gilgamesh's epic journey be a narrative trove, capturing the synthesis of humanity's dreams, ambitions, and fears, all distilled into the lens of personal growth and understanding? As you dream alongside Gilgamesh, delving into the banks of mighty rivers and the shadows of cedar forests, the arc of his journey shifts as he confronts the greatest challenge of all, mortality. In the poignant search for eternal life and the wisdom shared by Utnapishtim, the immortal flood survivor, Gilgamesh's quest becomes a mirror held up to the human condition. His journey teaches that while we may not conquer time's relentless march, the echoes of our deeds ripple into eternity, touching the lives of countless others. These ancient stories draw you deeper into their fold, the night air carrying the gentle cadence of timelessness, just as the rivers run their courses across endless lands. They present not merely tales of grandiosity, but reflections, moments wherein human nature is contemplated upon a cosmic scale, compelling us to ponder the intricate relationship between life's fleeting beauty and the eternal endeavour for meaning. In the glimmer of starlight, the ephemeral pulse of existence is brought into clearer focus, inviting you to tread softly through the landscape of myth. As this chapter of Gilgamesh's epic journey winds to a close, you are left with the profound realization that life's greatest adventures, shared in tale and memory, hold the power to transform the mundane into the extraordinary. Lulled by the continuity of these ancient narratives, you find solace in the gentle awareness that within each story lies the spark of curiosity, an invitation to explore the undulating horizons of human experience. Like the soft touch of a whispered dream, Gilgamesh's saga continues to beckon, unraveling its secrets one patient thread at a time, inviting you into a tapestry that's woven across the vast fabric of time. The shimmering threads of Sumer's past continue to weave their complex tapestry as you pass from one mythic monarch to another. From the legendary realms of Gilgamesh, you tread softly into the history-laden shadow of King Lugalzaggesi. The air is still warm with the whispers of centuries, and the scent of earth newly turned by farmers lingers like a tonic for the subconscious mind. Lugalzaggesi emerges from the shadows, a king whose reign is marked by divine claims and the grand ambitions of one who sought to weave all of Sumer into a single unified dominion. Envision him standing in the bustling marketplace of Umma, a city immersed in the scent of spice and the music of merchants trading beneath the hot Mesopotamian sun, his eyes glinting with aspiration and the promises of destiny. In the annals of Sumerian history, Lugalzaggesi is known as a conqueror, a king driven as much by territorial ambitions as by a desire to be seen as a chosen figure, favoured by the gods themselves. This melding of divine patronage and political prowess, highlighted in a mainstream historical fact, reveals how Sumerian rulers often attributed their authority to the will of the divine, a means to legitimize their rule and bolster their standing. For Lugalzaggesi, the divine favour supposedly came from the goddess Eannatum. He claimed that Eannatum herself granted him rulership over all Sumer, a divine mandate underpinning his sweeping conquests. Picture this king, like a maestro, conducting an orchestra of earthly power and celestial influence, trying to harmonize them under his vision. Like today's politicians claiming the endorsement of the masses, Lugalzaggesi's supposed celestial sponsorship was a claim that carried weight in the power dynamics of ancient city-states. A quirky or fringe tidbit about Lugalzaggesi is his poetic inclination as demonstrated in inscriptions where he refers to himself as the king of the land and the priest of the world, reflecting a grandiose vision and almost poetic flair. Perhaps an early attempt to earn a place in poetry slam history, albeit with a far wider audience. Yet his ambitious vision met a contentious reality. Historians still argue whether this divine mandate and subsequent territorial integration genuinely represented unified control over Sumer, or if they were simply grandiose claims reflected in states bound loosely by conquest. Was Lugalzaggesi truly a unifying force, or were his achievements as fragmented as clay shards scattered by the shifting sands? One of his significant acts was the expansion from his base in Umma to the venerable city of Uruk and beyond to Ur. A move that showcased both his tactical acumen and the gravity of his ambition. Notably, these acquisitions brought him into direct confrontation with another rising power, setting the stage for future conflicts that would resonate across the storied hills and fertile valleys of Mesopotamia. As you drift through the intricate layers of Lugalzagesi's saga, the impression left upon you is one of the delicate balance each king sought to maintain between the earthly and the divine, ambition and reality, unity and division. The legacy of Lugalzaggesi invites deeper scrutiny into the harmonious dissonance captured within the chords of ancient history, where power was wielded not only through the sword, but also through the silver-tongued proclamations that bridged the heavenly with the earthly. The narrative of Sumer builds slowly, like the gentle lap of waves reshaping a riverbank, inviting you to ponder not just the kings themselves, but the world over which they reigned, a world rich with ambition, creativity, and the indelible touch of myth. Each story holds a mirror to the ages, reflecting fundamental truths despite the shifting sands of time. As you meander through these tales, let the echoes of Lugalzaggesi's bold aspirations linger like a distant refrain in the boundless night. Allow them to guide your thoughts deeper into the realms where historical fact and imaginative storytelling converge, reminding you of the untold stories waiting in quiet alcoves. Settling gently into the lull of Sumer's evening, you breathe in the symptomatic blend of myth and history, embracing the intoxicating possibility that perhaps every ruler, every tale, carries its own shard of divine narrative, a whispering of eternity wrapped in the warm embrace of the ancient and the omnipresent. As you traverse further beyond the echoes of divine favour and grand conquests, the silhouette of another Sumerian figure emerges softly in the night air. Here, in the gentle cradle of time's expanse, you find yourself contemplating the reign of King Mesannepada. The night is still, and the hum of insects provides a gentle symphony, harmonizing with the distant murmur of the Euphrates, to set the stage for another tale from the ancient city of Ur. The narrative of Mesannepada, one of the first kings of the first dynasty of Ur, stands out in the hallowed halls of Sumerian history. While the specifics of his rise fade into the shadows of antiquity, his name shines brightly on the Sumerian king list, a testament to his reign and the establishment of a dynasty that would influence the sands of time. As you picture him, he appears as a bridge between the tangible and the ethereal, encompassing both the responsibilities of a ruler and the allure of a mythical figure wrapped in the timeless allure of power. The mainstream historical fact here underscores Mesannepada's role in forming a solid foundation for the city of Ur, transforming it into a significant nexus of power and influence. His reign marked the inception of this notable dynasty, leading Ur to prominence during the early dynastic period, a feat achieved through alliances, strategic marriage ties, and notable military prowess. You can imagine how the bustling streets of Ur hummed with life, the air filled with the aroma of incense and the rich earthiness of clay, as nations converged in this thriving hub of trade and culture. A quirky or fringe tidbit about Mesannepada lies in the potential treasure trove said to be discovered in the royal tombs of Ur. Among these treasures, the Queen Puabi's tomb is perhaps most notable, her opulent burial reflecting the wealth and complexity of this ancient civilization. It's said that Mesannepada's influence can be seen in such grandeur, offering a glimpse into the rich tapestry of life during his reign. Picture the grandeur akin to a royal treasure hunt, where each artifact whispers forgotten stories of a bygone era, waiting patiently amidst silent sands. Historians still argue about the precise nature of Mesannepada's expansions and the true extent of his empire. While he was recorded as having alliances beyond the immediate region, the full scope of these contacts remains a mystery, cloaked in the dust of time. Did he, like a masterful chess player, anticipate every move before it unfolded? Or were these supposed alliances merely the echoes of Sumerian ambition narrated through centuries of oral and written tradition? As you wander through these thoughts, imagine Mesannepada looking out from the terraces of Ur, seeing beyond the riverbanks and distant ziggurats, his mind upon the maps of kingdom building, perhaps accompanied by the whispered counsel of gods concealed within temple shadows. Was it destiny that guided his hand, or merely the combustible mix of circumstance and calculation? In the Symphony of Sumerian Kings, Mesannepada contributed significantly to the melody, his notes a song of unity, prosperity, and the long-standing resonance of a dynasty that sought to leave a mark upon the beds of history. The echoes of his influence ripple gently across time, casting questions of royal ambition and leadership as old as civilization itself. Let the stars above softly guide your thoughts as you ponder the legacy left by Mesannepada, the pioneering ruler who traversed the fine line between aspiration and pragmatism. Each decision, each alliance, reverberates into eternity, much like the steady beat of your heart as it synchronizes with the eternal narrative playing just beyond your conscious reach. The night wraps around you, a quiet invitation to reflect on the woven stories of those who dared to craft the great tapestries of Sumerian civilization. They remind us that for every ruler, rich in both earthly and mythic power, their stories, like the gentle river that runs endlessly through the fertile lands, continue to sculpt and redefine the landscape of history. Let sleep now cradle you as you drift softly into the dreams spun from these ancient tales, murmuring secrets beneath the comforting blanket of night. With the tales of Mesannepada still echoing in the soft night air, you find yourself drawn to another figure whose legacy struck the chords of Sumerian history with the assertive notes of conquest and innovation. Reaching across the sands of time, the presence of King Eannatum envelops you. The starlit sky seems to expand as you step into this new narrative, rich with the scent of stories both fierce and grand, swirling like the dust around the temple precincts of Lagash. Eannatum of Lagash emerges as a formidable ruler, renowned for his martial prowess and his ambitious endeavors to unite and expand Sumerian cities under a single banner. The mainstream historical fact regarding Eannatum underscores his dominance in what is perhaps his most famous achievement, the Stele of the Vultures, a limestone monument carved to commemorate his victory over the city-state of Umma. Imagine this monument in its ancient grandeur, records of battle etched meticulously, a testament to the might and memory preserved through cuneiform imagery. Through the stories told about him, Eannatum rises as a tactical strategist, wielding the strength of his armies along with the confidence of divine endorsement. It's as if you can see him strategizing under open skies, plotting campaigns like a seasoned chess player, examining each move with precision. The fragrance of campfires mingles with the chill of dawn as you traverse the ancient battlegrounds, contemplating the intricate dance of power and diplomacy on which his legacy rested. A quirky or fringe tidbit of Eannatum's era lies in his proclaimed bond with the gods, particularly Ningersu. Guided by what he declared was divine will, Eannatum sought not just to conquer but to rectify the sacred order among the Sumerian cities. Picture him invoking divine forces like an enthusiastic player on an e-sports team, laying claim to victories that resonated both terrestrially and celestially. But Eannatum's ambitions were not solely carved from conquest, they seeped into the scope of alliances and coalitions. His realms, adorned with treaties and accords, paint a vivid picture of a ruler who saw the world not just in terms of battle strategies, but through the lenses of diplomacy and legacy. One could humorously imagine him as the original alliance-creating enthusiast, akin to a UN diplomat, where maintaining intricate regional webs was as crucial as wielding swords. Historians still argue regarding the true extent and reach of Eannatum's conquests. Did he, in fact, integrate these city-states into a proto-empire through enduring governance? Or were his successes ephemeral flashes of military brilliance, soon dissipating into historical myth? The complexities of political maneuvering in ancient Sumer are tangibly present in the tale, a dance between solidifying rule and negotiating coexistence, a narrative eternally woven with the threads of ambition and resilience. As the layers of Eannatum's story unveil themselves, you catch glimpses of a ruler characterized by riveting ironies. The warrior king who sought peace, the conqueror who authored alliances. Against the immortal backdrop of Sumerian city-states, his ambitions floated like lanterns in the night, guiding and sometimes ensnaring the path with their flickering, mesmerizing light. The land's fabric beneath your feet holds the echoes of his footfalls, planning the unity he envisioned amidst the diversity of Sumerian civilization. These stories seek not just your understanding, but your imagination, going beyond mere records to evoke the living pulse of a Sumerian chapter, a chapter that still writes itself in whispers through the somnolent winds of time. As Eannatum's narrative gently folds upon itself, you find comfort in the gentle assurance that history's complexity lies not only in its big events and grand figures, but in the enduring stories and reflections left behind. With eyelids softened by the lull of ancient musings, allow the dreams of Sumer to blanket you like a gentle assurance that the echoes of Eannatum's steel will always call through the depths of time, inviting you to wander deeper still. The night deepens, its starry mantle cradling you, as the warmth of fatigue envelops your senses. Soothed by the lengthening shadows of Lagash and the mythology of Sumer's rulers, welcome sleep as a balm for the mind, where the echoes of ancient paths might dance softly through the theatre of your dreams. As the night rolls onward with its gentle caress, your journey through the annals of Sumerian history brings you to a more unexpected figure, King Urukagina of Lagash. The air is still and thick with the ancient scent of clay and grain, inviting you to explore the quieter, yet profoundly transformative, legacy left by this often overlooked ruler. Here, amidst the rustling of reeds by a quiet riverbank, Urukagina's story begins to unfurl like a tender blossom, pushing through the fertile earth. Urukagina is remembered not for grand conquests or divine proclamations, but for his noteworthy reforms that have resonated through the corridors of time. Mainstream historical fact celebrates him as the world's earliest known reformer, who sought to ease the burdens on his people by enacting social changes that some might even liken to the early inklings of a social justice movement. Imagine him not as a warrior king clad in armour, but a ruler with the heart of a lawmaker, driven by the desire to protect and uplift his people. In a world where kings often claimed power by the sword or through divine machinations, Urukagina diverged with quiet conviction. Picture him in the bustling streets of Lagash, the fragrance of fresh bread mingling with the earthy tones of rustic pottery, as he listened intently to the pleas of traders and farmers, the common folk who called upon his sense of justice. This was a ruler who focused on correcting injustices, something akin to the ancient version of a street-smart attorney advocating for the downtrodden. One particularly quirky or fringe tidbit about his reign is the so-called Urukagina Code, a series of pronouncements that aimed to curb corruption and enhance equity. By instituting a list of reforms, Urukagina attempted to protect widows and orphans from exploitation, reduce taxes, and even outlaw some forms of forced labor. Imagine these pronouncements carved into stone as ancient billboards, alerting citizens to their newfound rights and the social contract breathed into existence. However, historians still argue over the true efficacy and scope of these reforms. Was Urukagina's leadership truly revolutionary in reshaping society, or were these reforms merely temporary salves for enduring societal inequities? The answers hinge as precariously as shadows cast by a fading fire, caught between the ebbs and flows of time's relentless current. Urukagina's narrative emerges as an underdog story, a tale of striving for justice in an era not widely associated with profound social change. While his reign might not have left monumental ziggurats or vast empires in its wake, his commitment to civic improvement and justice reflects the essence of a ruler who saw governance in terms of duty to his citizens, rather than mere domination. Embrace the humility of this narrative, a ruler not draped in mythological feats or cosmic encounters, but in the simpler, more profound triumphs of humanity. Urukagina's legacy is a reflection on the power of compassionate governance, an inviting reminder of how history's quieter voices often resonate with unexpected strength. As you allow yourself to sink deeper into this tale, let the integrity of Urukagina's vision carry you gently on the wings of possibility across the still waters of time. Here, beneath the woven tapestry of Sumer's night, stands an enduring testament to the idea that true power might come not just from domination or divine favor, but from the courage to leave the world a little better than one found it. The night stretches onward, glowing softly with the secrets of centuries past. Let the gentle lullabies of ancient whispers serenade you into a deeper dream state, where history sighs softly like a compassionate guardian, embracing generations with the warmth of its melodic touch. Drift now into a restful lull, embraced by the tender mercies of Urukagina's gentle legacy, where dreams and hopes are woven into the fabric of each breathless moment. As the deepening night spirals gracefully into the quiet realm of dreams, your journey takes a turn toward the extraordinary presence of King Gudea of Lagash. The landscape around you feels lush and transcendent, enveloping you with the delicate aromas of a land kissed by ancient artistry and divine messages. Here, where myths whisper softly in the gentle embrace of the wind, we delve into the enigmatic reign of Gudea, a ruler whose legacy rested upon the firm foundation of vision and piety. In the dim light of this nocturnal journey, Gudea emerges not just as a ruler, but as a visionary sculptor of peace and prosperity. Picture him amid the bustling heart of Lagash, crafting an existence that welcomed dialogue with the divine, a king attuned to celestial whispers carried on the breeze. The mainstream historical fact about Gudea is that he is immortalized in numerous statues depicting him in prayerful contemplation, portraying a king devoted not just to governance, but to spiritual enlightenment. Gudea's reign is renowned for its extraordinary attention to dreams, those sacred messages delivered under the starry canopy, granting divine insight and guidance. Imagine Gudea, in the quiet pre-dawn hours, touched by dreams rich in symbolism, as if the gods themselves whispered their cryptic counsel into his ear. Like a medieval monk deciphering holy texts, Gudea interpreted these dreams, allowing his dream-induced insights to direct public works and religious undertakings that shaped Lagash into a harmonious city-state. One particularly quirky or fringe tidbit about Gudea that might tickle the imagination: his reliance on his dream interpretations led to the construction of magnificent temples and canals. His reign is credited with rejuvenating the great temple of Ningirsu, an endeavor pursued vigorously as if the act itself were divinely commissioned. Imagine waking up with instructions to build a back garden, complete with celestial blueprints delivered straight from the heavenly architecture. Except in Gudea's case, the garden was a sprawling temple complex. Historians still argue over the extent to which Gudea's reign was influenced by genuine religious conviction versus political savvy. Were these interpretations of divine dreams authentic expressions of faith, or strategic moves designed to unite and galvanize his populace under a shared spiritual vision? As the shadows of speculation murmur gently, such questions paint a complex portrait of a ruler whose legacy danced on the delicate frontier between divine will and regal intent. Gudea's tenure is also celebrated for his ability to extend the prosperity of his city-state through inventive diplomacy and robust trade networks, intertwining the destiny of Lagash with the broader Sumerian milieu. His penchant for assembling a multicultural workforce, craftsmen, artisans, and labourers from far-flung regions, paints Gudea as a masterful conductor, orchestrating a symphony of humanity in the service of his divine visions. In this tranquil reflection, the far-reaching effects of Gudea's reign unfurl like petals of a timeless bloom, reminding you of the intricate interplay between human ambition, divine influence, and the enduring power of dreams. Each stone, each statue, carved in Gudea's likeness, emanates with the timeless rhythm that celebrates human potential when guided by dreams, both whispered in sleep and forged amidst the daylight's conscious endeavours. As dreams begin to weave their own narratives within your slumbering mind, let the resonance of Gudea's spiritual and artistic achievements inspire a newfound sense of awe and reflection. His legacy speaks to eternity's artful dimension, where each dream holds the profound capacity to transform reality. The night deepens, its canvas painted with the flickering glow of ancient dreams now nurturing your resting spirit. Let the soothing allure of Gudea's reign embrace you, guiding you through the river of dreams and whispered histories, where each gentle breath cradles you toward an enriching, celestial serenity. Surrender now to the quiet symphony of restfulness, where history and imagination converge as wings, to lift and carry you through the gentle currents of nighttime solace. In the quiet afterglow of Gudea's dream-inspired reign, the ancient landscape of Sumer unfurls a path leading you to the remarkable achievements of King Ur-Nammu. The night is soft, with the silvery whispers of the moon casting a glow upon the fertile plains, where fragments of history linger amidst the gentle rustle of palm leaves and reeds. Here lies the realm of Ur-Nammu, where the profound blend of vision and dedication brought forth both monumental architecture and foundational legal mandates. Ur-Nammu is best known for the construction of one of the earliest known ziggurats, that towering feat of engineering designed to bridge the terrestrial and celestial realms. Picture the grand ziggurat of Ur as it stood in majestic splendour against both the backdrop of time and the sky, a multi-tiered colossal structure resonant with the echoes of celestial ambition. The mainstream historical fact notes that this ziggurat served as a testament to the architectural ingenuity of the Sumerians, a centerpiece of religious life and a symbol of devotion rising proudly toward the heavens. Constructed from sun-baked mud bricks, the ziggurat's immensity would awe all who gazed upon it, a stairway for the gods themselves, perhaps, or an attempt by mankind to graze the hem of divinity. Consider how such a structure would engage every sense, the gentle ascent of its stepped terraces, the warm, clay-scented winds trailing over its surface, and the hum of prayers that bounced between its walls like a sacred symphony of stone. A quirky or fringe tidbit about Ur-Nammu's legacy, though the ziggurat often takes centre stage, is his establishment of one of the earliest known law codes. Echoes of this legal legacy reach across time in what is often overlooked as a crucial development in the history of civil jurisprudence. Imagine him as the ancient world's version of a Supreme Court judge, diligently crafting laws that structured society, drawing a skeletal framework for civilization from the chaos of societal emergence. Ur-Nammu's laws set a precedent, seeking fairness in commerce and personal relationships, as recorded on clay tablets intended to unify his subjects under a singular legal edifice. These laws governed everything, from property rights to one's moral obligations. A reminder that the roots of legal systems began with these ancient decrees, etched painstakingly into stone, akin to the very bricks that forged his monumental construction. Historians still argue whether Ur-Nammu's law code was genuinely novel, or simply the formal documentation of existing customs. Yet it stands as a significant milestone in the establishment of codified law, providing governance not merely by the sword, but by ink and intellect. Through this vision of justice, Ur-Nammu bridged the divine mandates often claimed by kings with the practical needs of his people, balancing power with a sense of duty to his citizenry. The legacy of Ur-Nammu underscores an understanding of leadership driven by a blend of monumental projects that crowned his kingdom and the invisible, yet equally grand, structures of legislation on which societies quietly rested. This duality reminds you that true influence extends far beyond the material and into the realms of morality and equitable governance, where the echoes of fairness and the divine mission intertwine. As the serene night weaves its indigo threads around you, Let the shadow of Ur-Nammu's Ziggurat guide your thoughts toward the loftiness of human ambition and the gentle whisper of laws that shaped a civilization. Under the expansive sky, history and memory flow seamlessly into the placid waters of your thoughts, soothingly carrying you toward the calm embrace of sleep. Let the quiet murmurs of ancient codifications and architectonic wonder cradle you into restful slumber, where the wonders of Ur rise before you like a horizon of timeless potential. Allow this gentle narrative to swirl into your dreams, guiding you through the ancient alleyways of human endeavor, where each step resonates with the quiet echoes of integration. From the dreams of grand architects to the whispers of judicious scribes, in the lingering shadows of Ur-Nammu's monumental achievements, the night's journey beckons you to uncover the tapestries of grandeur woven by King Shulgi, his illustrious successor. Picture a scene rich with the aromas of bustling markets and the earthy scent of clay bricks basking in the warmth of the sun. A testament to the vibrancy and expanse of the realm over which this remarkable king reigned. The soothing cadence of ancient melodies drifts from distant lyres, entwining with the stories of a monarch whose legacy continues to fascinate, like a timeless aria. Shulgi, son of Ur-Nammu, took the reins of the third dynasty of Ur and elevated it toward an epoch that would parade through history with regal elegance. The mainstream historical fact credits Shulgi with the continued building and expansion of the great Ziggurat of Ur. Yet his legacy is defined by far more than stone and mortar. It reaches into the realms of culture, law, and an unyielding drive for excellence. Imagine Shulgi as a kaleidoscope, reflecting the multifaceted spirit of his kingdom, a human monument of intellect and ambition in ceaseless motion. A truly remarkable facet of Shulgi's reign was his obsession with swiftness and endurance, not dissimilar to the modern-day fascination with athletic prowess. Picture him setting off on epic running events across the Sumerian landscape, racing from Nippur to Ur in an achingly impressive showcase of stamina, a quirky or fringe tidbit that brings a cheeky grin amidst the splendor of ancient achievement. The old admic commemorates Hook Smith's triumvirate. Hook Smith, the world's swift. Imagine the janitors of history raising an eyebrow as they recount his claims of running impossibly swift marathons that blurred the line between legend and reality like the wind through palm fronds. Shulgi was not just a racer of footpaths, but also a profound patron of the arts and letters. Under his leadership, the arts flourished, with scribes composing hymns, poets crafting verses, and musicians playing at court to the rhythms of Sumerian prosperity. He, masterful like a contemporary choreographer, directed a cultural renaissance that painted the prolific canvas of his empire, sprinkled with shimmering stardust of creativity and reverence, a legacy humming with artistic delight. Historians still argue about the true extent of Shulgi's claims. Was his speed and stamina truly Herculean, or merely augmented through poetically exaggerated descriptions? The debates about his accomplishments continue to ripple through the academic sphere, while the grandeur of Shulgi's achievements reflect the timeless question of how much mythos intertwines with the narratives of powerful rulers. Beyond physical and artistic pursuits, Shulgi's reign was marked by an understanding of administration and governance that painted the city-states of Sumer with vivid strokes of cohesion. His dedication to legal enhancements and bureaucratic reforms ensured that diverse parts of his kingdom operated smoothly, much like careful gears in an intricately crafted timepiece. A deft appreciation for balance between progress and tradition, between divine claims and human limitations. In contemplating Shulgi's era, you sense not just the relentless ticking of time's passage, but the whisperings of strategy, wisdom, and the creativity that dances through your thoughts in shades of Sumerian blue. A testament to an era where human potential was as limitless as the Mesopotamian sky. Let the quiet of night serve as a mirror to Shulgi's story, reflecting the endurance and grace of a ruler who left footprints across both earth and history. As the echoes of lyres gingerly drift to silence, and the tales of swift wanderings come to lace your dreams, embrace the narrative caricatured yet profound, the reminder of enduring possibilities that richly wind through the corridors of time. The night envelops you in its tranquil grasp, guiding you into the expanse of serene slumber, where Shulgi's legacy unfolds with the silky tendrils of imagination and the calming, rhythmic pulse of enduring creativity. Drift into a restful night with these legends as companions, inviting you deeper into the labyrinth of past wonders and future dreams, where the endless expanse of human achievement continues to unravel its sacred tapestry in gentle whispers. As Midnight's River carries you further downstream through the annals of Sumer, the ebbing tide of history leads you to the poignant story of Ibbi-Sin, the last king of the third dynasty of Ur. The coolness of the night mingles with faint aromas of dust and incense, like a quiet echo of the city's former glory. The gentle rustling of palm trees and the distant call of an owl form a nocturnal soundtrack that wraps you in anticipation and introspection. Ibbi-Sin's reign began amidst the splendour inherited from his predecessors, but concluded in a crescendo of fading echoes and twilight murmurs. Imagine him as a king caught in the narrowing gap between triumph and calamity, valiantly navigating the swirling currents of historical change. The mainstream historical fact here is that under Ibbi-Sin, Ur faced external assaults and internal disarray, his legacy a solemn reminder of the fragility that underpins earthly power. At the heart of Ibbi-Sin's narrative, you find tales of resourceful attempts to stave off inevitable decline in the face of rising threats. The Elamite tribes, a force stirring in the east, cast long shadows over the once secure borders of Ur. Like a seasoned chessmaster faced with a well-played opponent, Ibbi-Sin scrambled to reposition his pieces, hoping to forestall an inexorable checkmate. A quirky or fringe tidbit about his reign whispers of an economic atmosphere thick with the fragrant vapours of desperation, a time where wheat and silver became entwined in a dance of devaluation. Grain prices soared, logistical strains frayed supply lines, and the economic landscape shifted like sand beneath Ibbi-Sin's feet, reminiscent of today's financial storms, sparking spirited debates among economists and tavern-goers alike. Historians still argue over how the interplay of external pressure and internal strife reached its culmination during Ibbi-Sin's reign. Were these forces simply a consequence of long-established regional instability, or did unforeseen environmental shifts play a greater role? The discourse delves into Enlil's favour mysteriously described. As deities turned away and fortune spiralled downward into the annals of decline. Yet, despite the tapered fortunes of Ur, Ibbi-Sin remained a spirited symbol of resilience. He launched efforts to rally cities and stem the tide of entropy. His letters and proclamations, like desperate missives in a modern-day inbox, sought aid and allegiance. You might picture him seated in his throne room, gaze cast upon distant lands as time bore down on him with ceaseless intent, a king clinging to the narrative threads of hope and tenacity. Ibbi-Sin's narrative draws to a close in the dimming light of an era slipping beneath the horizon of history. Yet, as the sun sank on the third dynasty of Ur, its legacy quietly persisted, threads of its tapestry interwoven with the fabric of future civilizations. The narrative reminds you of humanity's precarious dance amidst change, where echoes of past strength resonate, even in the shadows of uncertainty. As the night settles around you, consider Ibbi-Sin's poignant story, a reflection not just of a lone ruler's struggle against forces beyond his control, but of the cadence of history itself, a melody composed of ascensions and declines, triumphs and lamentations. In the embrace of these ancient winds, find solace in understanding that all things pass, yet leave their mark upon the ledger of time. Allow yourself now to drift deeper into the soothing embrace of sleep, where the murmurs of history's rise and fall echo gently, guiding your dreams with the soft grace of twilight. Let the tranquil harmony of Ibbi-Sin's legacy inspire you toward empathy and contemplation, whispering through the corridors of time about the unyielding dance of empires under starry skies. Rest well and explore further, in anticipation of stories yet to be told, secrets yet to unfold, upon the gentle canvas of night's eternal expanse. As you continue winding through the lush corridors of Sumerian history, the tender embrace of night leads you to the everyday lives nestled in the shadows of grand kings and monumental ziggurats. In this section, explore the heart of Sumerian existence, the work, the life, the balance that sustained a civilization long before the advent of modern comfort. Breathe in the sense of damp earth mixed with the soft murmur of rippling water, guiding you through the harmonious rhythms of this ancient society. Imagine waking to the gentle nudge of dawn breaking over the horizon, casting a golden hue over the Sumerian landscape. The everyday life of a Sumerian unfolds like a tapestry, woven with the rituals of agriculture, trade, and family. Here, people cooperated with the seasons, engaging in a dance with nature's cycles that shaped their world and their work. Much like how our modern world spins under the clock's merciless gaze, the lives of Sumerians pulsed with regulated energy, dictated by the sun and stars. The mainstream historical fact reveals that much of Sumer revolved around agriculture, thanks to the fertile land made bountiful by the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Picture fields ripe with barley and date palms swaying gently in the breeze, a testament to the ingenuity of the Sumerians, who invented irrigation systems that transported life-giving water to their crops. The symphony of shuffling footsteps and rustling leaves paints a picture of resilience, mirrors that undeniable resourcefulness inherent even today in humanity's indomitable spirit. A quirky or fringe tidbit introduces the concept of the beer rations that were part of the standard diet among Sumerians. Yes, beer. Brewed from fermented barley, ales were staples of the Sumerian diet, consumed with meals and distributed as wages to temple workers and laborers. So, raise your metaphorical clay mug to these ancient connoisseurs who sought nourishment dressed in malty froth. The echoes of joviality among friends and families gathered for a hearty meal resonate into the warm hum of today's communal eating scenes, albeit now with varied selections of craft brews and concoctions. Historians still argue about the precise structure of Sumerian society, how power dynamics between different classes played out within the daily ebb and flow. Between the noble scribes who bent intently over their clay tablets and the humble farmer who tilled the rich earth, there existed a fluid yet intricate societal web. Did each group enjoy a relative autonomy, or was the hierarchy more rigid than early records suggest? Such questions linger, much like the delicate silhouette of a palm tree against the moonlit sky. Beyond the fields, Sumerian life flourished within the bustling enclaves of Ur, Uruk, and Lagash. Imagine vibrant marketplaces teeming with life, vendors hawking clay figurines, textiles, and verdant produce. Artisans toiled with care, chiseling tablets and crafting jewelry that shimmered in the sun. Children played amidst the arches and alleyways, their laughter weaving through the air like threads of golden sunlight. It's almost as if through the lens of history those ancient markets morphed into the lively bazaars and farmers' markets we cherish today. The intricate social fabric was held together by a well-established practice of religious observance. Temples served as centers of social life, their towering ziggurats a testament to the intertwined nature of spiritual and earthly pursuits. At such great heights, priests and priestesses led ceremonies honoring gods whose stories lived among the constellations. Congregations gathered, participating in rituals where the divine and the everyday merged into one harmonious cadence. A tapestry woven together with prayers, festivals, and communal feasts. As the gentle pulse of Sumerian social rhythms fades into the background, the beauty of their enduring legacy lingers, a precious reminder of the balance between survival and fulfillment that threads through the human story. These everyday activities, though wrapped in different robes over the centuries, echo through timeless corridors, prompting us to remember and reflect on our own social structures and rituals. Let the quiet narrations of Sumer's past guide you softly into your dreams, carried on the gentle whisper of time that cradles your soul. Drift peacefully into this lull, where the mysteries of work and life blossom beneath the cloak of night. With an embrace as gentle as the dawn's first light, allow these reflections on life's rhythm to inspire and comfort as you explore the landscapes of the mind. The delicate, nocturnal veil of Sumer gently wraps you in its quietude, coaxing you further into the enigmatic realm of Sumerian spirituality. The scent of sacred incense drifts through the air, mingling with the soft glow of moonlight that spills over temple facades and ziggurat terraces. In this sacred space, the spiritual heart of Sumer beats in time with the whispers of the gods, inviting you to contemplate the mysteries of the divine that were woven into every facet of Sumerian life. In the world's first known civilization, spirituality was as intrinsic as the life-giving rivers, a deep wellspring from which flowed rituals, beliefs, and ceremonies. Sumerian deities were intricate characters who inhabited the cosmos with nuanced personalities and areas of influence. The mainstream historical fact about Sumerian spirituality tells us of a pantheon that included gods like An, the sky god, Enlil, the god of air and storms, and Inanna, the goddess of love and war. These deities were anthropomorphic, embodying human traits and emotions, thus offering a mirrored reflection of the civilization they oversaw. Imagine the Sumerian landscape, dotted with temples rising to the skies, ziggurats forming the cornerstone of urban spiritual centers, a grand hierarchy reflected in the ziggurat's layers, bridging the earthly realm and the divine. The rise of these great architectural wonders, their stone blocks imbued with prayers and offerings, symbolized the divine link that defined and connected each city-state with its patron deity. A quirky or fringe tidbit about Sumerian spirituality resides in the significance of their mythological narrative cycles, particularly the myth of Enki and the world order, highlighting Enki's role in imparting the gifts of civilization to humanity. Picture Enki in his role of divine bestower, illustrating a cosmic game of city bestowal, allotting specific gifts and roles to each city, an organizational effort not unlike a divine draft lottery ensuring each city its unique form of prosperity. As you delve deeper, the role of the temple becomes apparent, not merely as a place of worship, but as a center of civic authority where gods and rulers shared space like a boardroom meeting of divine and mortal leadership. Historians, however, still argue over the precise nature of this relationship. Did the temple truly wield supreme control, or was it more of a partner in governance, an essential part of the social fabric woven into the threads of political administration? Sumerian priests and priestesses, clad in sacred robes, conducted rituals amid fragrant offerings of incense and libation, a dance of sensory immersion designed to bridge the mortal and the divine. Sacred rites unfolded beneath the watchful gaze of statues imbued with the essence of forgotten divinities, whispering prayers riding gently on the smoke spirals toward the heavens, a spectral bridge to realms beyond. Spirituality also found expression through dreams and omens, symbols of divine intention permeating the Sumerians' waking thoughts. They believed dreams were the gods communicating directly, offering guidance or portents wrapped in the folds of midnight slumber. It's a notion that underscores how the ancient Sumerians saw their world, not just as a physical landscape, but as a realm rich with divine interaction, where every rustle in the reeds or arc of the moonlight suggested a hidden message from above. As the shadows dance to the tune of twilight and the gentle lapping of waves on stone, you reflect upon the enduring influence of Sumerian spirituality, a vast ocean of myth and belief that echoes through time, the whispers of deities mingling with history's slow currents. As the night quietly deepens, let the mystique of Sumerian spirituality guide you into the serene realms of sleep, where the insights of ancient wisdom weave dreams into vivid tapestries. Embrace these ethereal connections, where the sacred and the worldly spin together, creating an interwoven overstory of meaning and belonging. Drift softly into this peaceful lull, where the gentle echoes of Sumer assure you that within each night's dream lies the heart of divine mysteries, whispering across the ages. In the serene embrace of night, your exploration of Sumerian mysteries turns to the realm of artistry and symbolism, a vibrant tapestry, spun and woven into their everyday existence that speaks volumes in silence. The gentle glow of moonlight caresses the surfaces of ancient artifacts, and the air is alive with the rhythmic hum of unseen artisans shaping their cultural narrative. Here lies a narrative not solely told in words, but etched in clay, carved in stone, and painted in pigments drawn from the earth. Sumerian art, revered for its subtlety and sophistication, spoke a descriptive language that captured the imagination of archaeological explorers and curious minds alike. Picture yourself in a bustling Sumerian workshop, a space buzzing with creativity, where artisans are hunched over clay, their fingers nimble and minds alive with the stories they sought to inscribe. The mainstream historical fact about Sumerian art highlights cuneiform writing as one of their most enduring contributions, a system of pictographs evolving into full-fledged writing, offering insights into Sumerian culture, administration, and beliefs. These early forms of written art were often as functional as they were expressive. Tablets recorded transactions, decrees, and tales, their inscriptions informing the world with a clarity that transcends both language and time. Each wedge-formed stroke is a whisper from the past, a record of humanity's earliest attempts to communicate complex ideas across the ebbs and flows of history. Amid this cacophony of clay and stone are quirky or fringe tidbits that add texture to Sumer's grand tapestry. Among the most enchanting are cylinder seals, tiny, intricately carved objects worn as jewellery and used to mark property, much like signatures or corporate logos today. Picture a dignified Sumerian in flowing robes, sealing a tablet with a swift roll from their personal cylinder seal. The marks left behind creating a swirling narrative embedded with gods, creatures, and geometric patterns. A hint of artistic flair applied to practical purpose. Beyond mere documentation, Sumerian artistry embraced the divine and the mundane alike, drawing celestial narratives into artistic forms, carvings of gods surrounded by stars, mythological scenes filled with imposing divinities engaged in cosmic endeavours. They tread the delicate paths of both faith and function. Historians still argue whether the symbolic complexity within this art represented real societal structures or acted metaphorically to convey ideals and cosmic truths. Was the art an accurate snapshot or an interpretative canvas? Also central to their visual culture were the abundant figurative representations. Small votive statues offered a semblance of eternity, their wide, awe-struck eyes eternally focused upward, caught in endless supplication before the divine. These figures stood like guardians, finely tuned to the currents of divine will, bearing witness to the intertwining of earthly life and cosmic governance. A narrative carved in alabaster and cosmic governance. A narrative carved in alabaster and cosmic governance. The intricate designs, rendered on daily items, from jewellery and pottery to tools, blended aesthetics with functionality, encapsulating both individuality and collective identity. Through these creations, the Sumerians left behind ornate footprints in clay and stone, each artifact an encoded story that speaks of their sophistication, their spirituality, and their place within the vastness of the universe. As the night paints its dark arabesques upon the sky, the artistic whispers of Sumer tell their tales in quiet yet vivid tongues. Let the calming essence of these symbolic creations guide you gently into the velvety embrace of sleep, where the meanings embedded within ancient art tenderly beckon reflection. Allow yourself to drift along the quiet currents of history, interwoven with creativity, where the harmony of form and function bears the enduring imprint of a civilization that sought to articulate its place within the cosmos. With each inhaled breath, immerse yourself in this timeless dance, where the stories crafted long ago continue to resonate, delicate yet indelible, in the stillness of the night. As the night deepens, the narrative of Sumer unfolds further, guiding you gently into the world of agriculture, a critical backbone of Sumerian civilization. The soothing sounds of rushing water from the Tigris and Euphrates compose a lullaby, blending with the earthy fragrances of fertile plains turning over beneath patient hands. In this fertile crescent of life and crops, the legacy of early agriculture rises like a field kissed by the first light of dawn. In the cradle of civilization, agriculture lay at the heart of Sumerian society, dictating the rhythm of life from sowing to harvest, from seasons to years. Picture yourself among Sumerian farmers at the break of dawn, their faces touched by the golden glow as they worked methodically on the fertile soil. The mainstream historical fact highlights that the Sumerians were pioneers of irrigation, their intricate canal systems turning arid fields into verdant expanses. These ditches and dikes channeled the life-giving waters, a testament to the resourcefulness and ingenuity that allowed them to thrive in an unforgiving landscape. In parallel to these accomplishments lie the quirkier tales of Sumerian agriculture. A quirky or fringe tidbit rests with the curious use of religious festivals to inspire agrarian cycles. Gods such as Enlil and Inanna played crucial roles in ensuring bountiful harvests and fertile fields, with rituals and offerings intricately linked to agricultural success. Imagine these spiritual events as vibrant celebrations, where the lines between divine intervention and earthy toil blurred as readily as the horizon upon a dew-laden morning. Historians still argue over the precise methods and the actual yield rates of these early agricultural practices. Some conjecture that the development of these techniques allowed for the support of large urban centres, while others ponder whether environmental changes challenged their self-sustaining dreams. Such debate echoes the adaptive resilience required of ancient farmers, eternally contending with elements beyond their control. Within this agrarian framework, the social structure of Sumer was intricately interwoven. Farmers laboured communally, village life blossomed around shared effort, and the surplus of agricultural produce fed both body and trade. The produce from these fields not only sustained the Sumerians' physical needs, but also fueled the burgeoning economic networks that extended far beyond the Mesopotamian plains. Imagine the bustling markets where grains were exchanged alongside goods and ideas, their lively atmospheres resonating with the harmonious symphony of trade and barter. In Sumer, agriculture was more than survival. It was a linchpin of cultural identity, a sacred dance between humanity and the earth that provided. Each furrow carved into the earth was a promise, each harvest a testament to the enduring symbiosis between people and their land, a nuance that would resonate through centuries of agricultural evolution. The farmer's knowledge, carried on the whispering winds, served as the generative soil from which future civilizations would draw nourishment and inspiration. As these rich tapestries of history envelop you, let the echoes of ancient fields lull you into a restful slumber, where the murmurs of gentle streams and rustling crops dance serenely in the shadows of your dreams. The stories of these early agricultural pioneers, with their intimate ties to the soil and water, offer a thread that connects the revered humans of the past with those who nurture the earth today. Embrace this buoyant tranquility, where the timeless dance between sowing and reaping paints vivid dreams across the night sky. In every cultivated plot of fertile soil, remnants of ancient wisdom trace along your thoughts, quietly whispering to you of endeavors both grand and humble. Invite the calm and simplicity of these early agricultural rhythms to inspire an inward harvest of peace and understanding as you drift toward the horizons of tomorrow, cradled by a night richly woven with history's gentle touch. The soothing rhythms of Sumerian agriculture gently guide you into the more structured domain of early justice systems, where the dawn of law and order stretches across history's expansive canvas. As the ancient city's nocturnal symphony softly plays in your surroundings, the night air tinged with the fragrant incense of contemplation, you are invited to delve into the realm of Sumerian lore, an intricate fabric woven into the very foundation of civilization. Sumer, with its bustling city-states, was a melting pot of diverse communities, each woven together by the fundamental need for justice and order. In this context, law emerged not just as a system of governance, but as a delicate balance between human nature and societal harmony. A mainstream historical fact about Sumerian legal systems highlights the Code of Ur-Nammu, one of the earliest recorded sets of laws, predating even the Code of Hammurabi. Imagine clay tablets, inscribed with cuneiform, as ancient arbiters of justice, decreeing fairly across the land from their role at the temple courts. These codes encompassed a variety of aspects, from property rights and trade disputes to contracts and family law. The Sumerians understood that maintaining societal order depended not just on the edicts of rulers, but on a framework that all could understand and access. Picture a bustling city square where gatherings of merchants and townsfolk would recite these laws, ensuring that the whispers of justice carried through the terracotta alleyways. The quirky or fringe tidbit emerges in the form of Sumerian trial processes, rudimentary by today's standards, but fascinating in their complexity. Imagine an ancient jury of peers guided by a priest or official, playing the role of mediator amidst heated disputes. With no appeal to forensics or scientific evidence, truth and decision rested heavily on testimony, character witness, and, at times, the divine interpretation of omens or dreams. Historians still argue over the exact efficiency and fairness of these early legal systems. Did they truly promote egalitarian principles within their limits? Or were they inherently skewed towards maintaining existing power dynamics? This ongoing debate casts shadows like evening clouds across the Sumerian sky, inviting introspection on the nature of law itself. Yet within this foundational legal tapestry, the emphasis on restorative justice over punitive measures offers modern thinkers much to ponder. For the Sumerians, justice was not just about punishment, but about restoring balance, whether through restitution, compensation, or negotiation. The community's welfare was woven into every verdict, highlighting a poignant understanding of human nature and interconnectedness. Each decree served as both guidance and reminder, a silent, immutable force in the heart of the city. In tandem with the legal codes, the looming ziggurats housed scribes, who meticulously documented both great judgments and everyday transactions. Seen as society's moral and legal compass, these temple scribes were custodians of both divine law and human custom, quiet stewards whose dedication ensured that the lessons of justice echoed through corridors of time. As you reflect upon the nuanced dance between fairness and power, ponder the motifs of equality and morality that transcended even the shadows of antiquity. Through their system of laws and order, the Sumerians contributed to a legacy of wisdom and structure that would nurture the germination of justice across civilization. As the night deepens, allow these ancient notions of justice to guide your dreams into serene realms, where the balances of right and wrong find gentle equilibrium within your thoughts. Let the enduring echoes of Sumerian lore envelop your mind in comfort, as you draw from this historical current a sense of calm and reflection, a reminder of humanity's shared endeavor toward justice and societal harmony across time's grand expanse. Drift into restful slumber now, where the elegance of lore's beginnings offers a guiding star within the twilight of consciousness, a celestial reminder that justice, like the night itself, is an eternal pursuit, seeking balance amid the ever-changing spheres of existence. As the tapestry of Sumerian history envelops you further, the narrative draws you into the intricate language that underpinned the very essence of Sumerian civilization, the language of kingship, spirituality, and daily life itself. The ambient glow of the moon and the quiet whispers of distant temple chants enfold you in a warm embrace as you embark on a journey through the language that shaped a world. The words that carved legacies and communicated visions. Sumerian, often regarded as one of the earliest written languages, forms a linguistic bedrock that connects us to the burgeoning roots of human expression. The mainstream historical fact about Sumerian is that it was rendered in cuneiform, a script etched into clay tablets using a stylus, forever capturing the ephemeral musings of the ancient world. Picture scribes hunched over their work, imbuing each wedge-shaped mark with intention, shaping thoughts into preserved tablets, messages indelibly etched in time's embrace. This endeavor of wordsmithing was far more than mere documentation. Cuneiform was the language of kings, priests, and scribes. It was the very breath of Sumerian society. These etched symbols translated into the governmental, economic, and spiritual realms, as vital as the water that flowed through their carefully crafted canals. Imagine this vigorous intellectual exercise not unlike the modern hustle of publishing, keeping libraries and minds ever expanding. A quirky or fringe tidbit can be found in the idiosyncrasies of Sumerian storytelling, as many tales were inscribed into epic narratives. Among these, the mythological tales of gods and heroes sprouted, reflecting upon the spoken myths that endured over generations. Such narratives as the Epic of Gilgamesh and Enki and Ninhursag offer glimpses into the blend of legend and history, a timeless kaleidoscope of adventure and morality, tales that walk the fine lines between entertainment and instructional fable. The study and unraveling of Sumerian language invite historians to debate its pervasive impact. Historians still argue whether Sumerian entirely faded or unfolded into the Akkadian language as cultures intermingled, raising questions about linguistic evolution and the boundaries of language as both a unifying and divisive force. Does all language inevitably change as time ebbs, or do the core and spirit remain? But beyond its ancient echoes, Sumerian unfurls a vision of the integral role that language plays in establishing governance. The king's decrees, translated into scrolls, temples whispered sacred incantations, and trade agreements manifested as binding contracts. Each careful stroke a covenant. Through its linguistic mastery, the Sumerians forged bonds within societal interactions across centuries, spanning distances both metaphorical and literal. The Sumerians also produced a lively array of artistic accomplishments within their language, fostering poetry, hymns, and wisdom literature. Each carved symbol, the result of a slow, deliberate, and often poetic process, speaks of accolades and reflections on human life. Imagine poetry floating through the air, gentle verses describing life, love, and loss in a soft symphony of words cradled by the ancient world. Such is the quiet power of language. It cradles, connects, and communicates the rhythm of societies. It sings harmonies of lived experience at woven thresholds between the ethereal and the everyday. Language is both an object of art and a profound utility. A true testimony to the Sumerians' dedication to the infrastructures of their society, dear to every scribe who dared pen beauty from thought. As the night sways you softly in its embrace, let the graceful whispers of Sumerian cuneiform lull you into dreams of beauty and eloquence. Allow the stories interred in these clay tablets to echo through the corridors of the mind, offering glimpses of civilizations shaped by the magical interplay between word and world. Guided by the centuries-old narrative flow of Sumerian expression, experience the quiet comfort of languages lost to the ages, yet persistently speaking in hushed reverence beneath the stars. Embrace the serenity of these timeless narratives as sleep beckons, where whispering words and gentle wisdoms guide your astral journey through the dreams of ancient kings and scribes. Feel the gentle presence of Sumerian culture and its linguistic artistry holding you close, an eternal night wind carrying you toward the restful horizon of tomorrow. As the twilight of Sumer's ancient world embraces you, your journey now leads into the often overlooked but undeniably vital role of women within this bygone civilization. Here, under the soft canvas of night adorned with stars, the quiet strength and influence of Sumerian women are written into history's subtle passages, inviting you to explore how they navigated the intricacies of life amidst the echoing calls of the ziggurats and bustling markets. In the cities of Uruk, and Lagash, women's roles were as varied as the clay tablets that recorded the annals of Sumerian accomplishments. Picture the gentle weave of daily routines, where women managed households, participated in trade, and engaged in weaving and pottery crafting. A mainstream historical fact underscores the presence of women in economic spheres. Some even held high positions as priestesses and scribes, reflecting a nuanced societal tapestry where gender roles were interwoven with the threads of capability. Even with societal structures reflective of hierarchical constraints, Sumerian women wielded their influence in key societal aspects, serving in religious and commercial realms. You might envision them walking through rows of market stalls, their voices engaged in lively haggling, resounding through the terracotta alcoves as fruits, textiles, and jewelry exchanged hands in animated transactions. A subtle yet profound presence in public life. A quirky or fringe tidbit about Sumerian women's cultural impact centers upon music and enrichment, as many of them served as temple musician priestesses. These women played lyres and sang hymns, their melodies drifting up to touch the divine, literally bringing harmony into their patrons' lives, a phenomenon that mirrored the lingering tradition of women enriching lives through the arts in countless ages. Historians still argue about the degrees of freedom Sumerian women experienced, while the legal documents and cultural cues suggest opportunities for female agency and autonomy. Contrasting interpretations linger regarding their broader societal power. Were such instances outliers? Or was there space for women's influence to extend further than assumed within the patriarchal framework typical of ancient societies? Despite the cultural structures, through the lens of a mother, wife, priestess, or weaver, Sumerian women's lives painted nuanced patterns of persistent influence. They shared stories, offered counsel, and raised the next generations who inhabited the mighty Ziggurat-shadowed cities. In uniquely quiet ways, they delicately shaped the futures that would unfold through familial lineages. In temple life, the En, or High Priestess, held significant societal sway, balancing both religious and administrative tasks with grace and conviction. Imagine one such En, perhaps donning a robe tinged with dyed wool and sitting among congregants, leading rituals that invoked celestial favor, guiding her flock as both spiritual and community leader. A role echoing long across the spectrum of religious history. As these stories of Sumerian women weave through your thoughts, they provide an enriching tapestry upon which the prismatic colors of this civilization unfold. Each nameless figure, every recorded priestess or informal merchant, sang into the choruses of community narratives, drawn in etched clay and remembered whispers. As the tranquility of night draws in closer, settling like a comforting shawl, let the enduring echoes of Sumerian women's legacies guide your dreams toward inspiration and balance. Allow these ancient melodies, carried softly on the night air, to foster dreams rich with understanding, empowerment, and harmony. Being lulled ever closer to sleep's embrace, imagine charting a course where the voices of history's silent participants speak gently to you through the night, reinforcing the weaving of life's complex tapestry. Rest comfortably, knowing that history's softer notes are still echoing, keeping time with humanity's heartbeat. stitching connectivity across generations and the shimmering paths of stars. As the night envelops you with its ethereal calm, the landscape of Sumer transforms into a crossroads of trade and cultural exchange. The ancient whispers of commerce from distant lands sail through the cool desert air, mingling with the earthy aromas of the early morning. Here, in the heart of Sumeria, you delve into the intricate web of trade routes that connected the Sumerians to the vast world beyond their borders. A network that fostered unity and diversity, much like the constellations that dot the night sky. Trade was the lifeblood that pulsed through the Sumerian cities, invigorating the markets and filling the air with anticipation. Sumerian merchants, with their robust spirit and keen sense for commerce, traversed the deserts and rivers, guiding caravans laden with goods across sprawling distances. The mainstream historical fact highlights that Sumer was connected to far-reaching trade networks that extended out to the Indus Valley, Anatolia, and the lands of the Elamites. Imagine ships carved from sturdy reeds and timber, gliding along the waterways, carrying riches that spoke of lands both near and disparate. Picture the bustling docks at the city of Ur, the air filled with the clatter of goods and the harmonious cacophony of many tongues. A marketplace alive with the vibrant colours of copper, textiles, and lapis lazuli. As traders unfurl bales of wool and pots of carnelian beads, the market thrums with life, echoing tales of journeys from far-off lands that stretch beyond the horizon of Sumer's fertile plains. Amidst this tapestry of trade lies a quirky or fringe tidbit, the influence of Sumerian commerce on the development of early diplomatic relations. You might imagine proto-diplomats working deftly alongside merchants, negotiating alliances and treaties with distant lands. Their discussions, charged with the promise of mutual prosperity, were the early seeds of formal diplomacy, bearing forth a future where trade and policy were as intangibly bound as the warp and weft of a textile. Historians still argue over the precise extent of Sumer's influence on these early trade networks. While some scholars suggest Sumer acted as a pivotal hub, facilitating exchanges that spanned continents, others debate whether their reach was more localized, each theory presenting plausible narratives wrapped in the dust of time and the silence of buried tablets. What remains unchallenged is how trade served as the conduit for cultural exchanges that enriched Sumer with new ideas, artistry, and practices, much like a river that carves fertile valleys through arid lands. The trade routes, far more than mere paths of commerce, were also thoroughfares of culture and knowledge. Through these exchanges, the Sumerians shared agricultural techniques, borrowed religious concepts, and encountered foreign artisans whose influenced styles embellished the local artwork. Imagine the syncretic blend of artistic motifs and religious practices, woven together into a rich and eclectic tapestry that added colour and depth to the Sumerian way of life. Beyond material exchanges, these ancient networks fostered relationships that transcended borders, a testament to the interconnectedness of human societies long before globalization became a common term. In the shared camaraderie of these exchanges, deeper cultural dialogues arose, allowing societies to learn, adapt, and grow stronger in unison. With this vision of trade and connectivity, let the gentle currents of night soothe you further into peaceful rest. Allow the stories of bustling markets, vibrant exchanges, and animated greetings to weave their presence into your dreams, a reminder of the human desire for connection and collaboration throughout the ages. As sleep beckons, hold the image of deftly drawn trade routes and bustling bazaars in your mind's eye, and let them guide you through the calm embrace of night. Like distant stars dotting the maritime paths of time, these echoes of Sumerian enterprise and exchange reassure you of a timeless unity engendered by the simple, profound act of human connection. Drift gently into dreams coloured by shared stories and cultural encounters, carried ever onward on the soothing winds of history. As you journey deeper into the corridors of Sumerian history, the night guides you softly into the realm of warfare, a domain where strategies and stories of valour unfold like constellations across the sky. Here, in the quietude of the Mesopotamian plains, the pulse of ancient battles reverberate through the silence, woven into the very fabric of Sumer's legacy. The distant echoes of clashing bronze and the rhythmic march of soldiers' feet blend with the cool desert breeze, painting a picture of the formidable challenges faced by the Sumerian kings and their armies. In an era where city-states vied for dominance, the mainstream historical fact highlights the significance of warfare in Sumerian society. From territorial expansion to defending against external threats, warfare was an intrinsic aspect of their civilization, shaping the political landscape. Imagine the disciplined ranks of Sumerian soldiers, their spears glinting in the sun as they maneuvered through the sandy plains, guided by the strategic minds that orchestrated their movements with precision. One particularly noteworthy figure in this martial tapestry is the god Ningirsu, the divine embodiment of victory and protection. Warrior kings sought his favor, invoking his power to guide their armies toward triumph. Under the celestial gaze, temples dedicated to Ningirsu thrummed with offerings and prayers, a divine alliance etched into the annals of history. A quirky or fringe tidbit accentuates the unique elements found in Sumerian fortifications and weaponry. The use of the chariot, an innovation tied to the dawning age of warfare mobility, brings to life the image of charioteers racing across open fields, clouds of dust mingling with their cries of advance. Imagine a Sumerian charioteer, the embodiment of both strength and speed, moving like a swift gust of wind, an early testament to the evolving art of warfare. Historians still argue about the effectiveness of Sumerian military tactics and their influence on subsequent military developments. While some scholars laud their sophisticated strategies and technological innovations, others propose the idea that Sumerian paranoia, with defensive structures, hinted at vulnerabilities within their political infrastructure. These debates linger in the shadows of ziggurats and strongholds, echoing the timeless truths about the challenges of maintaining power. As you continue to explore the nuances of Sumerian warfare, the interplay between competition and collaboration becomes ever more apparent. Warfare was not only about conquest but also served as a framework for forging alliances, strengthening bonds between city-states as they came together to combat common foes. The battlefield was both a crucible and a canvas, a space where the underlying motifs of human resilience and endurance were drawn with conviction. Beyond the dust and tumult of warfare, the stories of valiant warriors and strategic minds survive as part of our collective memory. Their legacies are etched upon the soldiers' hearts and in the tales exchanged around flickering fires. The sentiments of courage, sacrifice, and loyalty are all themes that transcend millennia and remain etched into the collective consciousness of human history. As the night deepens, let the echoes of Sumerian warfare lull you into reflective serenity, where stories of ancient battles melt into the timeless dreams of resilience and unity. Allow this narrative to guide your retreat into sleep, carrying forward tales of valor and memory, serving as a reminder of the enduring spirit of those who lived and fought under the Sumerian sun. Lulled by the soft cadence of evening whispers, journey gracefully through dreams where ancient warriors stand as steadfast sentinels, guardians of a past where struggle and triumph were as fluid as the mighty Euphrates. Let the gentle symphony of history's unseen battles embrace your slumber, a restful landscape where the heartbeats of warriors still echo beneath a star-draped sky. As the gentle embrace of night continues to cradle your senses, you find yourself drawn to the enduring legacy and profound lessons of Sumer, a civilization whose heartbeat continues to echo through the chambers of history. Under the vast celestial canopy, with Orion rising high and the Milky Way's shimmering path tracing the sky, the story of Sumer's contribution unfurls like a gentle melody that has traversed the ebbs and flows of millennia. Sumer's legacy is palpable in the foundations it laid for what we understand today as civilization. A mainstream historical fact underscores its contributions. From the inception of written language to the creation of city-states, comprehensive agricultural practices, and early legal codes, Sumer shaped the foundational architecture of human society. Picture the streets of Ur and Uruk bustling with activity, vibrant hubs of innovation where early inklings of libraries, schools, and complex political structures began to form. Beyond these tangible achievements lies a more philosophical legacy, one that speaks to humanity's perennial quest for meaning and understanding. Sumerians, with their rich pantheon of deities, ethereal mythology, and celestial observations, pondered the universe with a depth that still resonates in modern spirituality and philosophy. Their lunar calendar reflected a deep connection to cycles and celestial rhythms, offering a roadmap for navigating the mysteries of existence. A quirky or fringe tidbit that emerges from Sumer relates to their profound influence on numerology and timekeeping. The Sumerian base 60 numbering system is a distant echo that exists in today's 60-minute hours and 360-degree circles. Imagine the early mathematicians and astronomers, eyes tracing the pathways of stars, crafting calculations that would transcend the boundaries of their era. A nod to the timeless dance between numbers and the universe. Historians still argue over how fully Sumer managed to integrate its various innovations into neighboring cultures, contributing directly to the rise of empires like Assyria and Babylon. This ongoing discussion explores the tributaries of cultural diffusion, where the concepts birthed in the Fertile Crescent flowed into the wider world, forming tributaries of influence that touched new generations of architects, lawmakers, and theologians. The lessons from Sumer are woven into the very fabric of human existence, imparting wisdom on governance, justice, and the power of community. Their cities were more than mere physical spaces. They were entities that thrived on collaboration and mutual reliance, offering echoes of cohesion and innovation that remain relevant in today's interconnected world. Consider how Sumer's enduring narrative speaks to the resiliency of human creativity, the perpetual dance between challenge and growth that characterizes our shared journey. In their stories, we find reflections on aspiration, exploration, and the timeless pursuit of knowledge, narratives that continue to guide us through the complexities of modern life, offering both grounding and inspiration. As the night deepens and wraps you in its serene embrace, let the whispers of Sumerian wisdom escort you into a gentle slumber, where history and dreams intertwine. Embrace the harmony of lessons from long ago, flowing quietly into the corridors of your mind, inviting introspection and contemplation. Allow yourself to be cradled by the enduring legacy of Sumer as you dream, where the constellations carry stories spoken softly across the ages. These ancient murmurs assure you that every epoch of growth, each moment of insight and creation, contributes to the tapestry of human existence. A reminder that the heart of civilization beats on through each of us. As we navigate the tapestry of time, let these soothing echoes draw you peacefully into the night's soothing embrace, where dreams carry forward the eternal truths of an enduring past. As the night lingers, guiding you gracefully through the quiet corridors of history, you now approach the significant transition from the era of Sumer to the rise of Babylon, a transformation marked by both continuity and change. In the soft glow of moonlight, a dreamlike panorama unfolds, tracing the journey from the ancient cradle of civilization to a burgeoning new realm, where the seeds sown by Sumerian ingenuity unfurl into the rich tapestry of Babylonian ascendancy. Sumer, with its monumental achievements and storied past, gradually yielded to the emergence of Babylon, a city-state that would grow into one of the great epicenters of ancient culture and power. Imagine the beginning of this transition as the gentle blending of rivers, where the currents of Sumerian accomplishments carried toward new confluences under Babylonian influence. The mainstream historical fact elucidates this overlap. The continuity of Sumerian cultural contributions, absorbed and adapted by the emerging Babylonian Empire, poised to leave its indelible mark on history. Under Hammurabi, one of Babylon's most renowned leaders, the spirit of Sumerian innovation was preserved and expanded upon. Imagine the bustling streets of Babylon at dusk, lined with majestic structures echoing the architectural splendor inspired by Sumer. As the city hummed with life and purpose, its walls resounded with echoes of Sumerian traditions, now nestled within Babylonian dynamism. Included in this transformative narrative is a quirky or fringe tidbit. While Sumerians and Babylonians shared many cultural threads, the latter culture's adoption of the Akkadian language over Sumerian marked a significant linguistic shift. Picture the ancient scribes transitioning their styluses from one tongue to the next, adapting the script to encompass Babylonian history and governance. A testament to the ever-evolving linguistic fabric of Mesopotamia. Historians still argue about the exact nature and timing of Sumer's decline and Babylon's rise. Whether it was primarily driven by environmental shifts, military conquests, or economic factors remains a subject of scholarly discourse. In this dialogue of sands and time, these intertwined narratives suggest a complex interplay of forces that steered the region into its new epoch of influence. The legacy of Sumer lived on through the Babylonian pantheon of gods. Figures like Marduk ascended to prominence, yet always nodded to older deities like Enlil and Inanna. You can envision rituals and ceremonies that, while bearing Babylonian accents, still whispered the ancient language of Sumer's spiritual heritage. As you reflect on the transition from one civilization to another, what emerges is a testament to cultural resilience and adaptation. Babylon, like a phoenix rising from the nest left by a mighty predecessor, earned its place in the annals of history by building upon Sumer's achievements while moulding its own identity. This transformation invites you to contemplate the nature of progress, how civilizations build upon the legacy of those who came before, innovating and reimagining, while holding closely that which keeps them grounded. In the quiet pacing of night, allow yourself to explore the thematic bridge linking these two great societies. The story of Sumer to Babylon offers a gentle reflection on change and continuity, a reminder that cultural heritage persists and evolves in tandem like the stars overhead, constant yet ever-shifting in the celestial fabric. As you drift closer to sleep, let the journey between these epochs guide you into peaceful rest, lullabies of human endurance and creativity humming softly within your dreams. Embrace the tender narrative of transformation, where the river of civilization winds onward, carrying the seeds of each generation toward infinite horizons. With a quiet sense of interconnectedness woven into your slumber, dream of ancient bridges and new beginnings, where history's gentle fanfare accompanies you toward a place of tenderness and reverie. Let the legacy of Sumer and the promise of Babylon guide you softly into the embrace of night, where the human story continues to unfold, whispering insights through the gift of history's timeless passage. As the gentle night completes its arc across the sky, you find yourself at the conclusive chapter of your Sumerian journey. Here, in this final moment of reflection, the stories and mysteries of the Supreme Sumerian Kings swirl around you like a tapestry, finished with threads of dark and light, woven by the hand of time itself. The gentle cadence of crickets and the soft whisper of distant winds provide a serene backdrop, escorting you through this closing narrative interlude, where mystery and reality part ways, leaving behind a legacy veiled in wonder. You've walked under the domes of ziggurats, crossed the expanse of fertile fields, and stood silently in temples laden with offerings. Throughout, the tales of divine kingship, epic voyages, and pragmatic reforms unfolded, revealing a civilization as rich and textured as the clay tablets upon which it wrote its destiny. Sumer, with all its glory and complexity, has whispered its secrets and shared its treasures, offering timeless lessons that continue to echo. The stories of kings like Gilgamesh, Enmerkar, and Ur-Nammu, with their divine ambitions and worldly endeavors, remind you of humanity's eternal quest to transcend its earthly bounds. Each king reaching toward the divine realms, while deeply rooted in the calls of their people. Through the echoes of time, their legacies offer a gentle reminder that leadership entails a delicate balance between aspiration and reality. The academic debates you've touched along your journey, be it the effectiveness of Urukagina's reforms or the disputed breadth of Sumer's influence, illustrate the vibrant dance of history and interpretation. Within these discussions lies the beauty of historical study, inviting ongoing exploration, much like an endless night sky filled with stars waiting to be named. The quirky anecdotes and tangential trails followed through cylinder seals and beer rations tickled your imagination, providing a glimpse into the world where human warmth and ingenuity flourished amid the grand tales of kings and empires. As the whispers of Sumerian kings gently fade into the embrace of morning's first light, allow yourself to contemplate the comforting continuity of history, where each epoch rises and sets like the sun, painting its own chapter upon the timeless horizon. Let these reflections cradle your thoughts as you drift toward the threshold of waking, where the lessons of a civilization long past shed light on today's path. In this tranquil moment, as sleep gently releases its hold, you find solace in the knowledge that every story and every dream is a bridge between worlds, ancient and modern, known and unknown. The Sumerians have left a rich legacy, not merely in clay and stone, but in the living memory of a civilization striving to reach the stars. As the night concludes its watch, let the gentle transition back to your waking world be as serene as the dreamscape that carried you here. May the echoes of Sumer inspire your day with a newfound sense of curiosity and wonder. a reminder that long after tales have faded, the power of history lies in its ability to shape the present and illuminate the future. Secure in your dreams, gently touch the line where history ends and your journey begins anew. Let the breath of dawn inspire you with hope and understanding, as the legacy of Sumer supports you in your stance on the shores of changing times. Rest easy now, fellow wanderer. Sweet dreams.